try this again. Hope everyone's doing well anyway. Welcome in. So I don't know. Just try again. But what's the title? You know, it's like put this kind of title. I bet a bunch of people are going to show up now. You know, I bet like a bunch of people now suddenly show up because I've put that title. You know, seems like the vast majority of my subscribers are inactive on my channel. They're not actually real subscribers. It's just a bunch of deadwood, you could call it. So like someone could have like a really high amount of subscribers, but that means fuck all if you don't get the views and the support. Just because someone subscribes to you doesn't mean they're actually, you know. Well, I appreciate that, Anthony, but you know, it doesn't seem like a lot of people really come here very much, you know, and they just, I mean, you could say it's my own fault or whatever because I'm, you know, I've been negative before and stuff, and some people find some of my shorts annoying or whatever, but you know, I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I've tried different things, and I don't know. It can just get a bit draining, you know. I'm trying, and I just don't seem to be able to really captivate people that well, you know. No matter how hard I try, you know, people just seem to kind of go, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's really not right, is it? If someone's got 70k subs, I mean, they should be getting at least, say, 700 viewers. That would be like 1% of their subscriber base live, you know? So getting 3 viewers with 70k, that is pretty poor, isn't it? To say the least. So we're all kind of like having issues, it seems, with views and stuff, but things like, you know, people not getting notified or whatever. Suppose like I'm getting like, what is it, 3 now, so it's like, you know, I'm literally getting the same amount as this guy with 70k views or something. Hi Noah, how you doing? Good to see you. It just feels like, it's just also just that there's not much of a community, and it's like, I go to some of these lives, it's not like I'm being jealous or anything, it's just, I just noticed that a lot of them are, you know, like, they have their communities there. They have their people that are there every time, and they're very loyal to them, and I just wish I had that, and just wish I could be a bit more, I don't know, connect with my audience more. I don't know what it is, it's just, it's that people don't really connect with me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they just find me kind of boring or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really like to talk too much about myself, you know. I just find it a bit like, it's just not really anybody's business. It's like, for example, people say, oh, what sort of diet you have and stuff like that. I don't really like to talk about stuff like that. I don't really like to, you know, people start asking me all these more personal kind of questions, and I just kind of like, I don't really want to deal with all that, you know, because it's kind of like irrelevant, you know, because it's like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's like, I'd rather talk about other things that are more important, really. I don't know. I just have no interest in telling people about my own personal stuff. Yeah. Well, that's it, you know, if you had like 20 people who are loyal and they're supportive, let's say they become members and whatever, and I do have like 3 members now, so that is something, I suppose. You know, I've got to try and just focus on the positives, haven't I, you know, because it can be quite, you know, you can just get, you know, into like negative thoughts and you know, it's like this whole thing of comparison is the thief of joy. You see all these people, it seems like they're doing way better, but it's like, you know, how long have you been at it, you know? It's just you've got to try and just sort of try to stay positive somehow. Yeah, thank you for liking the live. I had to restart this because I just did a live and it was not getting pushed out at all, it was just dead. So it can be hard to really kind of have that motivation if I'm not seeing the results. That's the thing. I struggle with like motivation when I don't see results, you know. If I'm doing, say, like fitness, then I can see the results. I can see that what I'm doing is actually getting me somewhere. And that helps me to stay motivated because I know that what I'm doing is going to work. Whereas if I don't know and it seems a bit kind of uncertain, I can struggle to be motivated then, you know. Well, your channel's not growing much, so you seem to have at least like some kind of dedicated fan base, but I've noticed a lot of channels just seem to have kind of flatlined, where they're like just barely growing at all in the last few months. Things seem to have changed, I don't know. But yeah, you got some channel like, you know, Pulsing Iron. When I first watched him, it was getting like maybe 100 subs or something, or 100 subs maybe at the most. And his channel's just exploded and he's up to like 24,000 subs now. And he's getting, I think he had about 800 people live at one point this morning. So, you know, it's just one of those things, I guess it's just the way he was doing things with like being consistent and doing what he was doing. I guess maybe it's because he was just kept doing the same thing over and over. The YouTube knew who to like push it out to, but I guess it's just the problem with my stuff is that I can be a kind of, you could say it's a bit fickle in the sense of like, I don't always stick to the same thing. Sometimes I might do a fitness live, or I might do just a talk stream or whatever. And, you know, I don't know if that might be the problem. If I did the same thing every day, then maybe it's just hard to kind of just stick to the same thing. It got boring to me doing the same type of stream. It would just doing the same kind of stuff. I don't know. Well, I like to kind of mix things up a bit, but they say though to hit your niche, you have to like, you know, stay consistent on one thing. It's just, it's tough because maybe you don't want to keep doing that thing, you know. You feel like you just kind of backed into a corner. I'm just going to go to the shops and get some food and stuff, but yeah. Anyway. I hope everyone's well and just, yeah, keep the chat flowing, but like I said, I don't need any personal questions. You know, if you want any help with anything, like, let me know, but any advice, but it's just, I don't want to be giving unsolicited advice either, you know, because I've kind of done that, probably that in the past, and I don't like it when people do it to me, so I need to not do it myself, because it can be very rude and just almost kind of like condescending in a sense. I just find that it's a way that people insult you a lot of the time. It's like a way to put you down by trying to disguise it as trying to be nice and helpful and whatever, but really they're just being a dick and they're trying to feel insecure or whatever, you know, a lot of the time. So I'm not buying that they're just trying to help you a lot of the time, you know. They're just, oh, live evening, right, so you're not getting back into your fishing then because you're just doing like the fly. It's yeah. Did you say that you couldn't do that stuff anymore, or are you going to get back into it? I can't remember, because I know you were saying you had some issue with your health a while back or something, but I don't know what was going on with all that. But yeah, that's the name. Yeah, no frills, no mercy. Just like, yeah, you shouldn't find it if you just type that in. But saying that I should just like give mods out to everyone, but then I just find that people would just abuse it because it happened before. Because otherwise I'd have to mod every single person up, you know? That would just get too much. Like every time a new person would come in, I'd have to like mod them up. And I'm like, I ain't got time for any of that, you know? So I just mod nobody, you know? If there's some issues in the chat, I'll deal with it myself. And if I absolutely need mods, I will use somebody that I actually trust to be a mod. Not just some random person that begs to be a fucking mod. You know? Because it just gets really fucking annoying. People just like, oh, please make me a mod. It's like, that's a way to guarantee that you'll never be a fucking mod. Makes you cringe when people beg for a mod. Yeah, it's like, why do you need that? Is it to get you? Is it for? To make you feel special? It's like, it's a bit, I don't know, it seems a bit narcissistic or something, I don't know. Begging to be a mod. But, I don't know. Whatever, you know, it's just, it is what it is. I don't go into chats and say, oh, please make me a mod. It's just pathetic. But, you know, just, people don't have really any, like, common courtesy or anything. It seems to just, I don't know. They just have such audacity. Anyway, who's still in here then? Is it Matty, isn't it? In No Frills, No Mercy. He's still there. I need to do a video to like shout out my members, I think. Maybe I'll do that later actually. Because like it's just yeah, people like Fvck. I got 3 people who are members now. Hopefully these people actually stay as members, but we'll see how it all goes. But I had like 2 people super chat me yesterday, so I try and focus on the positives, you know. It's just, yeah, still there, cool. Yeah, so you just gotta try and just appreciate all the little victories, you know. Focus on all that, you know. Because it's like oftentimes we're doing a lot better than we think. You know, sometimes we can get all focused on, oh no, this ain't going right, blah blah blah. But in reality, you know, you're probably doing better than a lot of people, you know. Like there's a lot of people that are, you know, they're not actually doing well at all. Like there's people who are homeless, there's people who are, you know, in war-torn countries, there's people in famine, there's people in all sorts of horrible situations, there's people in a toxic, abusive relationship or something. You know, it's like you have to just kind of, obviously if they're in that situation they should try and get out of it, but you know what I mean, there's people that are fucking suffering and we have the nerve to like complain about that we are, you know, in a bad situation or whatever, when in the grand scheme of things are really not that bad. It's like even if you're on a minimum wage job, you're still doing better than a lot of people. Like if you're on even minimum wage job, you probably have enough money to be able to save up. I mean, I was doing the maths on this. I mean, most people on minimum wage jobs, it's like it still is possible to, if you know how to like save your money properly and invest and whatever, then you know you can do well for yourself, and you can eventually like maybe start a business or something. But it's like people want to always like focus on, oh no, well this person got it easy, I'm so jealous of this person. It's like, well, that ain't gonna help you, is it? You can point your finger at people, you can be jealous about people, but then how is that going to help you though? Because focusing on things you have no control over is just going to keep you suffering and keep you in your kind of skirt set. Focusing on the things you don't have versus the things you have. for some people it might mean that they have to get off social media or whatever to really kind of like take a step back and just to remind themselves how good they actually have it. Take yourself out in nature or something. Take yourself away from all these devices. You know, some people call it a dopamine detox, but you reset your dopamine to where you actually get enjoyment out of simple things rather than just all this overstimulation and like the things like video games, social media, etc. that it's just going to make you end up feeling empty. You know, because you end up feeling depleted of just like any kind of meaning in life. You have any sort of there's no purpose to it, just doom scrolling, and how is that your life in the long run? You're just distracting yourself from your problems and trying to just give yourself a quick buzz. But how is that really going to help you to be happy in the long run? You just have these fleeting buzzes of pleasure, but then you're left empty, you're left without any purpose in life whatsoever. I mean, there's like homelessness everywhere, but I don't really see a lot where I live, but I do see a few. But there is going to be homelessness, but I think it's probably more in like the bigger cities and stuff, like London. I would say Manchester as well, probably a lot around there. It's just everywhere really, but depends on like population density and things like that. It's just there is some that they've gotten into it. You could say it's their own fault, if they were like, but you could also argue that like it wasn't really their fault because their environment led them to it. People end up in situations because of their environment a lot of the time. Let's say they're around a bunch of people who say like, they're quite sort of not very good. They're not very like, what's the word? They're not very someone that they're not someone that they should be looking up to live like. They have these people, they get into the wrong groups, and it could just be that they just want to be around, they just want to be accepted or whatever it might be. Just end up feeling like they have to do certain things to impress someone, and then they end up going down a really bad downward spiral, and then the next minute they're homeless. So these things happen, and it's just the government doesn't give a single fuck about it. They're allowing all this to keep happening, and instead of trying to deal with it, it's like bad things such as, I remember, I think it was on Bournemouth, somewhere like that, and they actually put these things on the seats to stop homeless people from sleeping on them. And so they invested this money to do all that instead of trying to help the people who are homeless to maybe get somewhere to stay or whatever. It's like all they're trying to do is they're trying to make homelessness illegal, but then they should be trying to prevent people from actually becoming homeless. That would be a better solution, I would have thought, but I guess it's because maybe that might mean that they have to invest in things, but they don't want to do that, do they? Because they're just trying to, I'm doing fine, thank you, one dark rep. I'm just on a rant about the whole thing with the homelessness and how it's not being addressed. It's just, how is it even allowed to happen? It's just really like, so there's no point in dwelling on these things, because again, the more you dwell on the negative stuff, then the less you're actually allowing positive things into your life. So it is what it is. It's just a symptom of a effed up system that I still train. I was at the gym yesterday, a bunch of different things. Yeah. Yeah, I've been going harder than ever, really, I would say. But, what's that? I can't hear anything, yeah, it's just, yeah. Okay, yeah, just, it's a shame if people can't hear me, but I can't do anything about this wind, you know. It's been very windy today, fortunately, so it's just tough, isn't it? But yeah, I do train, I do, yeah. Sometimes I look at myself and think, you know, I don't look like I've really made any progress, but then, you know, look back at old photos and stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, actually I have really, like, improved. So sometimes if you're feeling like you've not really progressed, you need to look back at where you've come from, and you're like, oh yeah, wow, I've definitely improved, big time. So that's the tip, you know, if you're ever feeling like you're, you know, that you're not really like making any progress, because progress happens incrementally, very slow. It happens very gradual, and you know, it's not going to be very noticeable, like if you just see yourself every day. But if you look back at like where you've come from, then you're like, oh wow, that's massive improvements. All in the diet. Well, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, but the training is like the stimulus. I was saying how, yeah, like the diet and but also just the lifestyle in general is important. But I also think the protein's a bit overhyped. Like when people say that you should eat a minimum of 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Hang on, no, a second. 1 gram per pound of body weight, they say, or 2.2 grams per kilogram. I think that's a bit high. The actual cutoff is about 1.6 in terms of the benefits. What they found in many studies, that's what they conclude, that for most people, that's where you're going to benefit the most, around 1.6 grams per 1 gram of body weight, which is not hard to do. 10% body fat, yeah. But what they were saying about, like, I was looking into this thing about best body fat percentage to gain muscle, and I hear some conflicting things about this stuff, but some people say that, oh well, you need to bulk up and you need to get fat in order to max out muscle. But then I've also heard people saying that if you do that, you're going to suppress testosterone, that in turn reduce your ability to build muscle. So I don't know. I guess the approach would be a kind of more gradual increase in body weight, but try to kind of minimize fat gain. Don't want to be too lean either, because that can also crush testosterone. For some guys, even 10% might be too low to build muscle properly. So 10% can be good for like maintaining, but to build, you might want to bump it up a little bit for a lot of people. So it's just kind of like, just to really kind of, you know, find what works for you really, because some people are saying they're optimal around 12%. Some people might find 15% is more optimal for building muscle, and maintaining around that for like a long period of time give you more sustained results rather than just bulking and cutting all the fucking time, because that might not really be a good idea, because you're in this gaining phase for a bit, and then you're having to then go months of like, you know, going into a cut and then just completely stopping your progress for that, because it's hard to build muscle while you're in a cut, if at all. But yeah, so it's just a lot of people end up just wasting their time with like stupid diets like yo-yoing and stuff, and so it's probably best a more kind of balanced approach to things, where your hormones are optimal but you don't want to go too aggressive with bulking, because that's just going to lead to unnecessary fat gain, and like I said, your testosterone will decrease beyond a certain point. So there is absolutely no need to dirty bulk. It's just stupid. Unless you want to be a power lifter, then there's no reason to do that. Because it's not going to be healthy either. It's not going to be a healthy way to... There's 79 kilograms at 5'5". Let me think about this a second. So you're telling me that was that about 170 something at 10% body fat? That is actually a little bit sus. But as if you're a natural, I mean, like, in terms of like, what is it? So if someone was to be able to do the calculations on that in terms of FFMI, I'm not 100% sure, but you've even got someone like friggin', well, I think Jeff Nippard's about 5'5", and I don't even think he's at that level, and he's pretty much maxed out his natty gains. So I don't know, like, if what you're saying is actually accurate there, but whether you're actually 10% body fat or what, but it's just, most guys are not going to get above 170 at like 10% body fat. I'm just like, just saying that maybe you just have really good genetics, I don't know, but 10% body fat, that's like a lean mass of about 160 something. Like, so you're telling me your lean mass is over 160 pounds. I don't know about that. I don't know. What, 5'5"? Unless you've just got really good genetics, I don't know. Because like I said, Jeff Nippard, I think he's about 160 something, and I don't even think he's at like 10% body fat. So it's just in terms of like the proportions there that you're giving me, I don't know if you're like secretly doing something that is boosting that, like some growth hormone or something else, or testosterone. There's literally guys out there that are blasting a bunch of gear and they're not even that big. I suppose it depends how they're training and stuff, but it just kind of puts things into perspective, really. But 5'5", I mean, like, put it into perspective, I think, like, what is it, Jeff Cavalier is roughly about at the same weight as you, if I remember, but he's like 5'9" or whatever he is. I'm not exactly sure what he is, but he's taller than you, and he's like below 10% body fat. He maintains like single-digit body fat all year round, pretty much. I think sometimes it's gone down to about 6%. So yeah, it's and people are saying that he might not even be natural maintaining that, but depends on each individual, I guess. But it's like, I don't know, it's just, I'm just a bit kind of sus about that. How many pounds is that? 79 kilograms, that's like, let me think, 79 kilograms in pounds. It's over 170 pounds, I think, anyway. Yeah, 79 kilograms. I don't know. A lot of people actually will underestimate their body fat. if you was to tell me you was like 15% body fat, then that would seem more plausible. Or if you was to tell me you was like 70 kilograms or 72 kilograms, maybe something like that. So I'm just saying that it doesn't quite add up to me. Not hating or anything, just like